Among the tales of sorrow and of ruin that come down to us from the darkness of those days, there are yet some in which amid weeping there is joy, and under the shadow of death light that endures. That is the opening line from A Beren and Luthenien from In the Silmarillion. That is what I consider the greatest line in a sentence ever constructed in the English language. Those of you who know me, know the channel, know I love the works of J.R.R. Tolkien. It's my favorite setting, my favorite books, and all that. Their works have deep personal meaning for me. And so I decided to review. I eventually decided to read the final publications of Christopher Tolkien before he had passed, which you see on the screen. One of which was of Beren and Luthenien. Well, it's just called Beren and Luthenien here, right? And these are edited. This is edited together by Christopher as The Fall of Gondolin, Children of Hurin, and all were. There are two other ones that came out, The Fall of Numenor, and which was edited by someone else. And what these are collections that take all of the works related to the topic that Tolkien ever wrote, right, and put them in one place. And then, as the editor, in this case, Christopher, provides some analysis, and he shows you how the story evolved from when Tolkien first began to create it. For instance, in this book, the table of contents, right? It opens up after the preface, notes on the elder days, which Christopher provides, and as well as Tolkien notes. Then it goes right into A Beren and Luthenien, and he starts with a letter from his father. For example, I will read from this letter. Written on 16th of July, 1964. The germ of my attempt to write legends of my own to fit my private language was the tragic tale of the hapless Kulivero and the Finnish Kalevala. It remains a major matter in the legends of the First Age, which I hope to publish as the Silmarillion, though as the Children of Hurin it is entirely changed except in a tragic ending. The second point was the writing, out of my head, of The Fall of Gondolin, the story of Idril and Irandil, during sick leave from the army in 1917, and by the original version of the tale of Luthien Tinuvel and Beren later in the same year, that was founded on a small wood growth underneath a great undergrowth of hemlock. No doubt many others related to plants were also there, near Ruse and Holderness, where I was for a while on the humble garrison. That was my phone going off at the end there. And through this work, Christopher shows you how the professor's work as he began it early on, as he added, and then he would revise it as he made revisions to the Legendarium, and basically as you read through this, you'll read the notes of Tolkien, the notes of Christopher Tolkien that he added to explain things, and each version of Beren and Luthenien, most of which were incomplete. Even the final released Silmarillion version is somewhat incomplete. Christopher, with the help of Gagariel K, put that together from all the different versions that Tolkien had ever done to make a relatively complete tale, right? And personally, Beren and Luthenien is my favorite thing he ever wrote. And of course, I think it's Tolkien's favorite thing ever, because Beren and Luthenien is based on the life of he and his wife, right? If you, I read Tolkien's biography, and I don't know if I reviewed it. I might have to. It's one of the greatest biographies I've ever read. I'm not usually a biography reader, and that shows you how he worked on the Legendarium and everything he did constantly, and also he lived his amazing life, and so this again is your layman's version of how Beren and Luthenien evolved and came to be in the final version. We got it in the Silmarillion, right? And it's a fascinating read, showing you the changes, the interesting ways. There's some amazing text in earlier version that got omitted from later version. How the Noldor, which were really gnomes, eventually became another type of elf, and so forth. I mean, as I said, it's well constructed. There's some nice artwork in here by Alan Lee, and it's well edited, of course, by Christopher, right? So I would heartily recommend this. Now, this is not like, this is going to be a short book review, obviously. I'm not going to sit here and do a scholarly analysis of every page and whatever. That's from far better literature experts than I am. But I just want to say, as a fan who isn't, I guess, an amateur scholar, right? A fan of Tolkien, and you really, as you read something like this, that's in one place, it's a lot. It becomes easier to appreciate it. I mean, you could read the entirety of the history of Middle Earth and keep little indexes and bookmarks and whatever, and get pretty much all of this, except the new artwork and what Christopher wrote in addition to what he wrote and other stuff. But this makes it handy, to have these little collections. And I'm glad Christopher put them out before he died. This is a 10 out of 10. I highly recommend you get it. It's a nice little handy hardcover. It's not a quick read, because if you're reading, it's like, in some sense, it's over and over again. So you're reading a tale of Beren and Luthenien, I want to say like 7 times throughout this entire thing. So you might want to read something like this, read and then stop and read something else in between if you're not enough advanced to absorb multiple versions of the story in one time, right? Not everyone is. And that doesn't mean you're less of a fan, it just means you're not as hyping into it, So this might be something you read while you're reading something entirely, and you take breaks and switch back and forth. All these type of books are going to be like that, by the way. Right? So that's my review. I highly recommend this. And if you like my, I will show off a little bit. I'll find some of the artwork, little pictures of the artwork inside. Make me the big. There's some nice artwork by Alan and Lee. All right. Show you one more picture. Here we go. And here we go. So also you get about 8 or 10 of those beautiful bits of artwork, right? And quick little read here. No more in silence did they fight, howling and baying smote the night, till back by the chair where he had fed, to die the werewolf yammering fled. Huon is there, he gasped and died, and Thule was filled with wrath and pride. Before the mightiest he shall fall, before the mightiest wolf of all. So thought he now, and thought he knew how fate long spoken should come true. That's one of the earlier versions of the poem. Thule is an earlier version of Sauron, or part of his character became Sauron essentially, and this is earlier when Beren and Luthenien was a full poem. But that's the type of stuff you get. It's an amazing read. So I highly recommend this. If you like my video, give me a thumbs up and share it out there. If you're new to my channel, I try to do positive fandom comments for the most part. I do some reviews of Rings of Prime and Wheel of Prime that are obviously going to be more on the negative side, but for the most part, I try to do positive things I enjoy on my channel. And I love this book so much. Anyway, have a great day, and I am out of here. If you have any questions down below, obviously I can answer them.